Welcome back to this episode. I'm Gianluca, and today we're talking about Jeff Bezos, Amazon, and a financial move that is attracting attention in the market. A philanthropic entity connected to Bezos has filed to sell approximately $591.7 million worth of Amazon stock. At first glance, a transaction of this size may sound extraordinary. But when we look at Bezos' history with Amazon shares, philanthropy, and long-term wealth management, the picture becomes more interesting. Jeff Bezos remains one of Amazon's most important shareholders, even though he stepped down as the company's CEO in 2021. Since then, he has continued to sell Amazon shares through pre-arranged trading plans, while also transferring shares to charitable organizations. And that distinction matters. A stock sale by a philanthropic entity does not necessarily mean that Bezos is simply cashing out for personal spending. Instead, transactions involving charitable organizations can be part of a broader strategy to manage assets and fund philanthropic activities. Bezos has already committed billions of dollars to philanthropy through initiatives including the Bezos Earth Fund and the Day One Fund, which focus on areas such as climate change, homelessness, and early childhood education. So, what should investors make of this latest filing? The first point is that a transaction involving hundreds of millions of dollars in Amazon shares is significant in absolute terms, but it needs to be viewed in the context of Amazon's enormous market capitalization and Bezos' remaining ownership stake. In other words, the headline number is huge, but it does not automatically indicate a change in Bezos' confidence in Amazon. That is especially important because Bezos has repeatedly used scheduled trading arrangements to sell shares. These plans are designed to establish predetermined conditions for transactions and help separate investment decisions from day-to-day market movements. There is another important element here. Philanthropy and wealth management are increasingly connected for America's richest individuals. For billionaires holding enormous positions in a single company, donating or transferring appreciated stock can be an efficient way to support charitable causes while managing concentrated wealth. Instead of selling shares personally and then donating cash, transferring stock to a charitable organization can potentially create different tax and financial consequences. That means the real story may not simply be about Amazon stock being sold. It may be about how one of the world's wealthiest entrepreneurs is gradually transforming a portion of the fortune he created through Amazon into philanthropic capital. And this is part of a much larger trend. Technology billionaires have increasingly become major players in global philanthropy, directing billions of dollars toward climate change, healthcare, education, scientific research, and social programs. Bezos, however, has taken a somewhat different path from some of his peers. His philanthropic strategy has developed over time, and the scale of his commitments has increased significantly in recent years. For Amazon investors, the key question is therefore not necessarily, why is Bezos selling? A better question may be, what is Bezos doing with the wealth created by Amazon? The latest filing offers another piece of that puzzle. It also reminds us that when insiders or major shareholders move enormous amounts of stock, investors should look beyond the headline figure. The structure of the transaction, the entity involved, the timing, and the reason behind the sale can be just as important as the dollar amount. For now, the filing is another indication that Bezos continues to actively manage one of the largest fortunes ever created from a technology company. Amazon remains at the center of that fortune, but increasingly, the story is also about what happens to that wealth after it leaves Amazon. And that is where business, investing, philanthropy, and wealth management all come together. We'll continue to follow the story and examine what these transactions could mean for Jeff Bezos, Amazon shareholders, and the future of billionaire philanthropy. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, follow the podcast on Spreaker and stay tuned for more stories from the world of business, markets, technology, and investing.